Well, 10-10.
You know.
You go into these halves and you're tied up. You got to be happy about that, right? And you know what? Not too shabby.
We're not upset at halftime.
No, obviously some things, we'll get into it, but for the most part, I think we're all pretty happy with 10-10 and the way the Browns have played compared to other games. So welcome into the Browns Halftime Live. I'm Camryn Justice, Carly Mascitti.
Traded me in for John Doss, so maybe there will be a little more optimism this time. No.
Yeah, he's down somewhere, trying to find things to be mad about, which we will figure it out. We'll figure it out too.
Find some.
So first,
we can say whatever we want because he's not here. So.
We will never know. The first thing we got to talk about is the continuation of the opening drives being just chef's kiss.
Hey,
right?
I enjoy the first 10 plays of a Browns game.
They're always great. Very, they're scripted well. The Browns play incredible in that opening drive. So once again here today.
And you know what? I didn't have an Anthony Schwartz touchdown on my bingo board.
I don't know that anyone had an Anthony Schwartz touchdown on their bingo board. And the way they did it with that reverse play, that's how you use Anthony Schwartz. I think that's been kind of what we've been looking for all season with him. And he's gone through so much, right?
Don't make him go up for a contested catch or anything like that. Like, that's how you have to use him.
Especially with the way that he's struggled with his confidence with those drops. I mean, that's the way to do it. Get him involved. Show off his speed. Don't make him do those contested catches. Don't make him focus on like his weakness, really. Focus on his strengths, the speed. You give him a nice reverse. You hand him the ball. And Jacoby Brissett's incredible block. Let's talk about that. Jacoby Brissett, once again, it's Jacoby Brissett's. This is it for Jacoby Brissett.
He's putting it all on tape. I mean, this is presumably his last start with the Browns. And, I mean, we've been talking about it, all season long to this point. He's, I think, outplayed everybody's expectations.
Absolutely.
Whether or not people want to say that out loud. And this, no different again.
Yeah.
And we talked about this right before we got on here. I just want to add that the interception should just have an asterisk on the stat sheet, the stat line, his stat line, because that end of the game, that's what you're going to do at a moment like
throw
that.
The ball up. David Njoku almost came down with it. It was close. And so
that's not a real interception.
His one interception, we're not counting it. He's 12 for 18, 85 passing yards. I mean, Jacoby
27
Brissett,
yards on the ground.
But and yes, he's shown off his wheels, a late hit. Horrible play. What are you going to do? But here we are. Jacoby Brissett has never been where the Browns need to improve. Jacoby Brissett has been solid all season long. And in this being his last game as a starter with Deshaun Watson coming back next week, he's continuing that, and that's really good to see. And I hope he continues to have a nice second half. This is the game that he's playing for. And the Browns offense, if they just keep doing this, what they are doing, they're giving Nick Chubb the opportunity to run the ball. They're doing a really good job of getting the receivers in the mix. Donovan Peoples-Jones had a really nice catch. Amari Cooper having really nice catches, especially in that opening drive. But Harrison Bryant's making some big plays out there, coming down at the ball.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He had a great catch.
Offensively, things have been going well. I'd like to see David Njoku in the mix a little bit more, not just because he's on my fantasy team, but
of course, that has nothing to do with it.
Because I would like to see him get ramped up back from that injury. He was limited last year.
So I'm like,
here we are.
I'm sorry, everyone, but I do have Mike Evans as well.
Well, we can put that on hold. He doesn't have to go off for you. Someone else can go off for you.
What we're also putting on hold is the Cade York statue.
Yes.
Chuck Wilson.
Chuck.
I know.
Yes, Chuck.
Good from 51, 39. Yeah.
And you think that 51-yard field goal, he makes that, and you think, okay, that's going to set the precedent for this game, gives him the confidence, he's going to be good. And then he goes around and misses a shorter field goal. And, wide left. So he had a field goal blocked last week against the Bills in Detroit. And a lot of it looked like the special teams have had issues all season long. And it looked like maybe it was a protection issue and maybe it wasn't Cade York. And Kevin Stefanski said, no, it was a trajectory thing. Cade York hit it low. It wasn't a protection thing. So this is a Cade York thing that he's going to have to keep working through. He's a 4th-round pick. That expectations for him are high. And so I know that he's a rookie, right? And we did do a pretty good job of hyping him up after that first game.
So
a little too soon. But
he's had some highs and lows. But that's also kicking in the NFL.
It absolutely is. Now, being a 4th-round pick, you don't have the luxury of just saying, you're a kicker. You've got to perform. I do think that he is figuring out himself, and figuring out how to balance adversity, which he never really has had.
He didn't have
do.
as much of that at LSU. He'd never missed 2 kicks in a game until he came to Cleveland.
Yeah,
so
this is
I think some personal stuff that he's maybe a little up against. That just, again, though, things that come with the NFL. And I mean, you talk about all the time, but kicking is such a mental component as well.
It absolutely is. Robert, I mean, I agree. Kate is in his head right now. I think that he's been in his head since those struggles, missing 2 in a row. That was like I think a big killer for him in terms of like being grounded mentally every game. I think he approaches it differently now, and I think that that's something that he's going to have to work through. Robert, yes, he's like he's reading my mind. He has to work through this. Yeah, he absolutely does.
Are you actually Robert here? And are you?
I am. Yes, this is my alter ego. Robert.
Yeah. Now we know Cam's burner account.
Now, so we talked special teams, talked offense, defense. Okay, obviously.
Yeah, where do you land on this?
It's not the best game. It's not that Bengals game. This is not a dominating thing, but it's 10-10. It's a tie game. And there's been some really good plays out there on defense. Jeremiah Wusu-Koroma making really big plays. His impact, he's made his impact known since he came back. Exactly. He comes back from that injury, making his impact known. The Browns really need that, especially in that linebacker core, to have a guy to come in and make plays. He is a playmaker. You need more of that. Alex Wright. Batting down a Tom Brady ball. That's a big deal for a rookie.
He's going to remember that.
He's going to remember that. I bet he's got that ball ready for him. I mean, that's the kind of stuff, like plays like that. And now it's time for a takeaway.
You read my mind. That's what I want to see turnovers from this team.
I'm
sick of the Browns losing the turnover battle every week.
And when they lose the turnover battle, they lose the game.
Yeah,
they say it all the time. They said they needed to put more of an emphasis on it in practice on those takeaways. And have we seen that? Well, second half.
Yeah.
This is the time to turn it on. You've got the Bucs tied up.
Yep.
You've contained them pretty well to this point. We know that the Browns are notoriously bad at making second half adjustments in a way that's meaningful. So maybe this is the time. This is how they come in here.
That's what we need to say. Yeah.
Second half adjustments. Come in here, come in strong, not just tying it up. Put on the gas.
I got a little distracted. Staring through my soul. Sorry.
Yes, Michael. I mean, this is what it comes down to, and this is what the Browns need to do because they need to win this game. They need to win it. The record is obviously it is what it is, right? But they are not statistically out of a shot at the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now, if they lose this game, it's like less than a 1% chance. If they win this game,
you gotta win,
and you've got Deshaun Watson back next week.
And we hear him talk about you gotta start stacking wins, and it's so cliche. But it starts with one win, and it's got to start. I mean, it's got to start somewhere
here, and it starts here.
And we've talked about this in the beginning. Jacoby hasn't been the issue for this team,
not at all.
But there is, a new spark when I think Deshaun. You hope there's a new spark when Deshaun plays. I don't know how good he might look coming right out of the game playing in Houston. That's a whole other topic.
We will get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that when we get there. But that's not now.
But I think you can't be mad about where they're at this point in the game.
Yep.
So
10-10, all tied up. Steven says it best. Hopefully the Browns don't shoot themselves in the foot in the second half. That's where they get in their own way. They come out here, they play like this, and just maybe turn it up, make those adjustments they need to. No reason they can't come away with a win. Jacoby Brissett, that would just mean a lot, I think, to come out with a win in his last start.
I know, and he wants us to stop saying last start.
He does want us to stop saying last start because you never know what's right now.
For the Browns
right now, this is what it's going. And we wish him all the best.
Yeah, I think he's definitely proven himself as an NFL starter. I think our team's in more situations.
There absolutely are. So we will see if he's able to do that. Get the win for Jacoby Brissett. Get the win for the Browns. And get the win for Deshaun Watson as he comes back next week. But
I would love to see Brissett's final game be a win.
Pass the torch in a positive way. So
the record does not reflect what Jacoby Brissett has done stepping in as a starter.
That's why win-loss isn't a quarterback stat. Anyway, going into the second half, thank you guys for joining us. We'll catch you next week with maybe some exciting things to talk about. We'll see.
I know. We'll see.
Thanks for joining.